Hey BookTube, this is Friday Reads. I'm Jen and I talk about audiobooks, and I have several to tell you about this week. I will start off with one that I DNF'd, and that is Summer at Willow Lake by Susan Wiggs, and it is narrated on audio by Joyce Bean. You know, I got a little over halfway through this and I was just not impressed. Joyce Bean was fine, I thought. I've read some things on Audible where some people were not happy with her narration, but I thought she was okay. She wasn't outstanding or anything, but she wasn't terrible. But the book just kind of meanders along and never gets anywhere. And you know, the thing about women's fiction or chick lit fiction, like adult chick lit fiction, it just moves really slowly. Like they have to lay out the whole character thing and build the world, as it were. You know, they got to tell you all this stuff, give you all this background about the characters, and I don't have the patience. I guess I read too much new adult and young adult, and I wanted it to move a little faster. It kind of dragged. And so, yeah, I kind of DNF'd it. I thought, well, maybe I'll come back to it another time, but if I do, it'll be in print because it was just dragged. It just dragged. And then I also, I didn't finish this book, but I put it on hold for now. I want to read it in print. It's called All the Breaking Waves, and it's by Kerry Lonsdale, narrated by Dara Rosenberg. Dara Rosenberg was pretty good, I have to say. All things considered, I thought she did a fair job of the narration. She's pretty average, so that was fine. This is an interesting book about a woman who has some supernatural powers, and she's trying to take care of her daughter who is starting to show signs of the same. And I didn't get much further than that. I just got, I don't know, maybe it was a combination of the narration and the plot, but or maybe I just wasn't in the mood. But I thought, no, this isn't doing it for me. But my friend Lisa said that's an amazing book, so I don't want to put it aside for forever, because I often will come back to a book, give it a second try, and it's amazing. So I'm kind of trusting that that's going to be the case. So then I picked up Brooklynaire. This is book 4 in the Brooklyn Bruisers series by Sarina Bowen, narrated by Zachary Weber, Virginia Rose, and Joe Hempel. The narration was spectacular. It was so good. I think Virginia Rose did a great job of distinguishing very subtly the female characters. You always knew who was talking, but I noticed, or at least I thought about it later, the differences were so subtle. That's real talent, I think. So she was great. Zach Weber's always great. And then Joe Hempel, he was just, you know, good as like the omniscient narrator. So this is the 4th in the Brooklyn Bruisers series. The Brooklyn Bruisers are a hockey team in Brooklyn, believe it or not. And so this is about their owner and the romance that he has with his assistant. So it's very sweet. These two make appearances in the previous books, and so watching their romance unfold was really cute. It was really cute. I liked it a lot. I gave it 3 stars. 30 Day Boyfriend is by Whitney G, and it's narrated by Zach Weber and Erin Mallon. And this is actually a novella. I was kind of shocked that I got through it as quickly as I did, because I didn't realize it was a novella, but the narration was amazing. It was so good. It was, you know, definitely above average. I don't know, I shouldn't say amazing. I don't know that it went into, oh my gosh, territory, but it was really good. It was really good. This is just a quick little hate to love thing about a guy who needs to appear like a family man and his assistant. I laughed out loud several times with this novella. My only complaint is it wasn't long enough. It was really, really cute. Lot of humor, yeah. So I gave that one 3 stars. Let me tell you about the other stuff I read that wasn't romance. The first one was Quantum Space, and this is by Douglas Phillips, and it is book 1 of the Quantum series. And I think there are 3 books in this series, but I don't think the 3rd one is out yet. This is narrated by Kirby Heyborne, who was so good. I really like him as a narrator, and I was really impressed. He's just such a pleasure to listen to. He's an actor that gets it all right. He just does all the right things. He phrases things well. His characters are very distinct and very well done. He captures them really well, and you never feel like the way he's voicing them is not in line with the personality of the character. So I just love when I find that he is narrating a book that I want to read. I'm always thrilled. This was really interesting. It's described in the synopsis as kind of a Da Vinci Code, Dan Brown kind of thing, but having to do with quantum physics. And it's really interesting. You do have 2 people. One guy works for the president, actually, is who he answers to, but he's like the science advisor. And then the other person is from NASA, a woman from NASA. And what happens is there are 3 guys coming back from the moon, 2 Russians and an American, and they're in a Soyuz capsule, and it vanishes. And nobody knows what happened. And it's like, where'd they go? There is no debris field. There is no indication that anything blew up, but they don't have any other explanation for it. So turns out they are in the 4th dimension. So yeah, things go from there. I was really entertained, I gotta tell you, but this was really science heavy. So if you like that kind of stuff, like I do, then you'll be really entertained. The nice thing is it's really explained well, and it tends to have to be pretty dumbed down for me to get it. He gives some notes at the end that are so good. They explain the real stuff and the not so real stuff, the stuff he made up. So it's just fascinating. I love that kind of stuff. Surrender the Sun is by A.R. Shaw, and it's narrated by Kevin Pierce. Kevin Pierce has a distinct quality to his voice. I know I keep saying the word distinct, but that's the best word I can give you for his voice. He doesn't sound like anybody else. He sounds like a guy who is out in the country, who hunts and fishes, and he's got a real rasp to his voice, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. I thought it was very appropriate for the story. So really enjoyed his narration. I think it was definitely above average, and like I said, really good. This is a post-apocalyptic story, or an apocalyptic story, because this really doesn't happen. Well, I mean, it kind of starts to happen after the apocalypse. The apocalypse is something called, and I don't think I have this right to say it because I don't think I'm remembering it right, so I'll put it here on the screen, but it's called the Maunder Median, and it is the period of time known as the Little Ice Age that happened back in the Middle Ages. But the main characters are a woman who is a widow and her young son, and a guy who was friends with her husband before he died. They were soldiers in a war that's in the future. It's kind of a near future kind of timeline. And when this starts happening, then of course, you've got all the apocalyptic kind of things going along with it, like survival and people taking advantage of other people and trying to get to safety. So I love those kind of stories. I liked this one. It's not the best one I ever read, but it does have a kick-ass hero. This guy was seriously taking names. He was fun. He was a fun character to read about. This is a trilogy, I'm pretty sure, and I will probably continue on with the series. I liked it pretty much. I gave it 3 stars. I picked up Rain, which is book 1 of the Strands of Starfire series by May Sage. This was narrated by Shane East and Ava Erikson. I loved the narration. Shane East is Steve West. I think that's funny the way he did that as a pseudonym. He was great. It was really well narrated. I think that was one of the best things about this book. Their narration definitely raised it up a notch. I've listened to them before and really enjoyed them. So I'm kind of going on a roll with this really good narrators, you know, like they didn't head into amazing territory or outstanding, but they were really a pleasure to listen to. So they made this book fun. This is a sci-fi romance, and it's I'd not read really anything like this other than some short stories, and so I wanted to kind of check out the genre and just see. It's a hate to love, basically. It kind of crosses over into fantasy too. Took a long time to get going. The romance didn't kick in until well into the book, probably, I don't know, probably 60% of the way through. And then there was one scene, a graphic scene in it, you know, it's romance, and it was so graphic. It crossed the line for me, and I just thought, no, this has now ruined this book for me, which was kind of sad because it was a great plot and it had good characters. So, you know, the narrators were good, and that's why I gave it a 3-star rating, but I rounded that up from 2.5 because that one scene wrecked the book for me. Just wrecked it. It just didn't need to be graphic. It didn't need to be, she just didn't need to take it as far as she did. And I thought, why did you do that when you had such a great book going here? So the last thing I finished earlier today was Neanderthal Seeks Human, which is the first book in a duology of the same name by Penny Reed, narrated by Jennifer Grace. Jennifer Grace was outstanding. I would say she was definitely outstanding. She captured the main character so well, so well. And that character is Janie, and she is a little bit insecure and kind of a geek, kind of a bit of a prodigy. And when she gets nervous, she starts spouting trivia. It was so funny. I laughed several times. It was really, really funny. Well, she sees a guy that's kind of, she calls him Mr. Hottie McHotpants or something like that. And he's a security guard in the building where she works. And the book opens up with her losing her job. And so he escorts her down to kind of fill out the final paperwork and turn in her badge and that kind of stuff. So the story goes from there. And it's really cute. It's got a little bit of mystery to it. The mystery didn't go very deep. And, you know, there were some kind of loose ends there. But it is a duology. And so I don't have anything that I have started as yet. I've been packing all morning with a good friend of mine who, God bless her, everyone should have a best friend like her, because she has come for 2 days and we have boxed up most of my house. So, wow, that is an amazing friend who will come do that. So because of that, I've been visiting with her as we pack, and I haven't picked up any other books. But I think what I'm going to do is pick up the sequel to Neanderthal Seeks Human, which is Neanderthal Marries Human. It's, again, I've laughed out loud a lot. It was just so cute. So I gave that one 3.5 stars, but I rounded it up on Goodreads to 4. So that was last week. And like I say, I'm going to pick up that sequel probably later today. Penguin Random House sent out the new books that are coming out, and they looked good. So I may pick up one of those. I'm not sure. I might. There were 3 of them that really appealed to me, so I'll keep you posted. So that's my weekend. I'd love to know what you're reading this weekend. I hope it's beautiful where you are. It's beautiful here. Spring is here. It's still a little chilly, but that's okay because there's lots of sunshine. So yeah, let me know how your weekend's going and what you're reading, and that's it for now from me. So have a good weekend, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.